Soft skills are what get you booked out as a freelancer. I think we talk way too much about technical skills as freelancers, the training, the skill set, and the experience of the service you want to offer, like business management, copywriting, design, bookkeeping. But what about soft skills? We forget oftentimes, or at least I feel like it's a little bit underrated, like the soft skills, the work ethic, the communication, that plays an equally important role in your success as a freelancer. Those are the components that really take you from a solid B- freelancer to like an A++++++ freelancer. And honestly, I would credit my soft skills for most of my freelancing success, and they did not start out that way. Okay, like all these skills I'm talking about are things I learned along the way. I was not magically blessed with all of these soft skills when I got started. It was really being like mistake, failure over and over and being like, why was the client upset at that time? Oh, it was because, and then I started like accumulating ways to practice these soft skills in my freelancing work. They are, I would say, 64% of the reason why I was able to grow quite quickly as a freelancer in terms of my rates, my client roster. I was getting a lot of referrals and glowing testimonials. It made finding and landing new clients much, much easier over time. So I thought today, let's chat about that. Let's chat about soft skills. We could chat about some lessons learned on soft skills from my own freelancer journey, things I've seen from peers, other freelancers, and things I've seen in the dozens and dozens of freelancers I've worked with and managed as a digital business manager on how to be a top tier creme de la creme freelancer. Now, my one note here before we dive in, a disclaimer, if you will. Soft skills are really essential to succeeding, but only if they don't come at a sacrifice to your mental well-being and self-care. So you should establish boundaries so that you don't compromise yourself for a client. It'll never be worth it to sacrifice your mental or physical well-being and health for a client. It's detrimental to your career long term. So just keep that in mind, because I know soft skills are a little bit like more fluid. So I don't want you to take all the things we talk about in this video and just be like, all right, I'm going to do them to the extreme and sacrifice, my priorities and my values in life. Don't do that. All right. So ominous disclaimer over. Let's talk about the 9 key soft skills that make you a truly A++ freelancer who gets booked out. Hey, my name is Dea, freelancer, digital business manager, most recently an entrepreneur, and as always, you can find sections on the play bar below if you want to skip to a certain part of the video. Your time is precious, take what you need. If you want to watch this on 2x, I won't be offended. I watch myself only in 2x. Okay, let's dive straight into the video. First up, you guessed it. Communication is everything. If you aren't willing to communicate and work on your communication skills, freelancing is going to be difficult. And I know people talk about communication all the time. So why is it that so many freelancers I see are still not communicating the way they should be to keep clients happy? That is a very, very big question I always ask myself. And I am a firm believer that communication can solve 95% of the issues that pop up during a project. So here are a few of my best communication practices. Number 1, just keep your client updated. I think a lot of times we think like, oh, we chatted with the client last Monday. They know what's going on. They can put 2 and 2 together and figure out what I'm up to. They can't. Keep your client informed of what's going on. Give them regular updates. And if you're in doubt, ask them how often they want updates and then just do it at the interval they want. Set an alarm for yourself so that you don't forget to let them know what's going on. Nothing makes me happier than seeing the daily updates channel in our team Slack, because Chelsea, my marketing assistant, she and I both give daily updates on what's happening with us and what we're working on for the day. It gives us both clarity and transparency on what we're doing and the status of our to-dos. And then there's no need to ask a bunch of questions. There's no need to nag. There's no need to micromanage, because there's transparency through that open communication. And I can't tell you how many freelancers I've worked with who would give me no clarity on timeline and then no clarity on what's going on with the project while I'm working with them. Because a client cannot read your mind. They don't know what's going on your side of the screen. If you don't give them clarity, it sends them into this loop of are they even doing any work? What's going on? I haven't heard anything. It makes them, stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, and it won't matter if you deliver your project and it's done and it's great. The process of working with you due to that lack of communication would have still been a stressful process. Another thing, if you agree on a timeline and you're going to be late or something happened that you didn't predict would happen, just let them know, right? And don't let them know last minute. Let them know earlier that it's going to be late. This is so simple. Just keep them informed of what's going on and you will already be doing so much more more than tons of other freelancers out there, I promise. If you're moving on to the next part of a project, just send them a quick like, hey, heads up that I'm now getting started with XYZ. I'll probably have that over to you by X date. Now the client doesn't have to stress, they don't have to think about it, they don't have to worry about it, they know when they can expect that next step from you. Second point in communication is to get crystal clear clarity. Crystal clear clarity. It's a hard one. Upfront. Now, this is one of the biggest issues I've seen that completely derails a project, is a lack of clarity on timeline, deliverables, updates, communication, expectation, quality standards, etc., etc., etc. from day one. Do not skip getting clarity. Also for you on what exactly needs to be done, by when, by who, how often, how much, to what degree up front. You will kick yourself so hard for it later. I have learned this lesson way too many times to count. I would jump into situations like super excitedly, assuming the client and I are on the same page, like we just chatted, they get it. Then weeks later, when the deliverable is not what they wanted, it's technically nobody's fault, but it ends up being a bad experience for both sides. So get clarity up front, get it in writing, explain to the client why you are getting this detailed clarity up front. It's to protect them and ensure they're getting exactly what they're after as well. It's really a win-win. Next one, manage expectations ASAP. If you notice clients' expectations are unrealistic, manage those as soon as humanly possible. Don't just assume they'll figure it out, it'll be fine later down the line. It will only get worse later down the line. So if a client says something like, they send you an example and they're like, this is what I want my website to look like, and you're already like, well, that website cost about 50 times your budget. Don't just be like, okay, we'll do our best. Don't do that, right? Manage those expectations right now. Let them know right now so that they're not thinking, oh, great, she says she's going to do her best, which means my website's going to look like that 50 times budget website, right? Manage expectations up front right away, ASAP, ASAP. All right, the second soft skill is empathy. This is a way underrated skill, but this has helped me tremendously, not just in working with people and understanding what's going on, their emotions, but also in understanding what a client needs from me at different times. Because a lot of times what the client needs is sometimes hidden between the lines of what they're not saying, right? And even like strategically being empathetic gets you so far because you can better understand people and put yourself in their position to understand, what they're worried about and where they want to go. Like if you are on a discovery call and a client's saying, I'm not sure, like I'm a little bit nervous about spending this money because blah, blah, blah. Like really put yourself in their shoes. What do they need to hear, and really validate those feelings and being like, I totally understand that. I've come across that with other clients as well, that they're nervous to invest this money, but here's how we're going to work together to ensure you get a return on your investment. If you can come from that perspective, it's much better than, somebody who's like, oh, okay, like you shouldn't be nervous. Like, don't be nervous. It'll be fine. You want to kind of see it from their perspective. Running a business is it's a roller coaster sometimes, and you really want someone in your corner who's going to try their best to understand where you're coming from. Another example is if you notice a client keeps procrastinating on a super important task that needs to get done, instead of being annoyed that they're not doing it, ask yourself, why might they be procrastinating that? Knowing their personality, what may be going on with them, how might I be able to make this task easier for them? Can I talk to them about it? All of that is going to be, it's going to come across really, really special because you are not just providing help on a strategic side, but you're also providing help with the mindset component, which for a lot of entrepreneurs tends to be a bigger component than the strategic side. The third soft skill, problem solving. I could write a book about how important problem-solving skills are, not just as a freelancer, but for life, really. Like, I've noticed that some people, when they come upon an issue, their immediate reaction is, I can't figure it out, you figure it out for me. And I get that because I'm definitely like that about certain things in my life. Like, I love it when my parents help me figure out like health problems and I don't have to like worry about it or deal with it or make appointments. But when it comes to freelancing, you can't default to that reaction because a client hired you to make their life easier. If you're always coming to them with problems, you're not making their life easier. So best believe if I come to a client with a problem, I have already been to page 109 on Google search results and I am still coming up empty-handed. That is such a mind-blowing skill, soft skill to bring to the table. I love freelancers that I work with that are problem solvers. And when they come to me, even if they can't solve the problem, even if they can't decide how to solve the problem, that they come to me with some solutions prepared, magic to my ears. Music to my ears, that's what it is. It's also magic, but it's music to my ears. Like, they're just my favorite people ever. fourth soft skill is confidence. And I know I hate it when people say like, just be confident. It's like, great, okay, helpful, thanks. But confidence will go a really long way. But I recognize it's not something that comes easily when you're just getting started. So that's okay. But as much as possible, try to source your confidence from somewhere, build a little folder of like good messages that you get from clients and really find the sources. Where can you derive confidence from? Whether that is your work ethic, your soft skills, experience if you already have some, from your dedication, from your ability to solve problems, from how hard you're going to work and how hard you're going to try to figure everything else out that you don't know. Source that confidence from somewhere where you can. Clients really respond to confidence. It instills a lot of trust and credibility in you. And I know it will take time to build up. That's okay. I just want to make sure you are building it up and over these next few months and years as you're freelancing and not spending all your time trying to knock yourself down. Okay, so it's like kind of a conscious thing to be like, confidence is something that will come over time, sure, but you don't want to actively work against it by being pessimistic, by always defaulting to why you're doing something wrong or what you're not, you're behind and comparing yourself to all these other people. Don't spend your time on that. Do your best to work on your mindset so that you are giving yourself even an opportunity to build up that confidence over time. Fifth, kindness. As in life, kindness will get you a long way in freelancing as well. I'm not going to talk too long about this. Be a good person. I hope I don't have to explain that too much. Just be kind, be a good person. People want to work with nice people. People want to work with people that make them feel positive after an interaction. So do your best to be kind. If you feel frustrated, take deep breaths. I've been there. Take deep breaths, sleep on it before you respond. Yeah, we want to always practice being nice people. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Sixth soft skill is a good work ethic. It's no secret, I'm a huge people pleaser, and it should come as no surprise that as a freelancer, I definitely carried that trait all the way through, always trying to go above and beyond in search of like validation and praise from my clients. And I think I used that desperate need for validation to fuel my work ethic, which worked well for me up to a point. But those of you who are people pleasers, that is a double-edged sword, so you should wield it very carefully, and kind of make sure you do have some sort of source that's healthy to drive that work ethic, whether it's your ambition, whether it's your goals, whether it's your values, your purpose, your fulfillment in life. Make sure something is driving that work ethic and you're doing work that you're really proud of. And I would boil down some key work ethic practices to 1, do what you say you're going to do. And I know this is going to sound really like duh for a lot of people. So many freelancers don't do what they say they're going to do. So many. I've worked with so many who have promised heavens and earth. I don't think that's a saying. And have not delivered. They were not ashamed about it at all. They were just like, oh, well, it didn't get done. Sorry. I'll do my best, but we'll see. So just do what you say you're going to do. This is one of the most basic things, but people still don't do it. They promise the world and deliver a half-eaten banana. Like, don't be that person. That's also why it's important to have clarity and manage those expectations up front so that you are not biting off more than you chew. That's very, very important. It's always better to under-promise, over-deliver than the other way around. Over-delivering is always a good option, obviously, when you can. If you promise to do like XYZ, maybe you can deliver like WXYZ, give them a little bonus extra. And the second thing is to care about what you're doing. And I don't think this is talked about like at all, but having a good attitude, goes a long way. Like if you show you care about the quality of what you're creating, if you notice something is not quite right, don't just hand it off to the client. Like figure out what's wrong, try again, and uphold your own standards. That is how you create work you're proud of, and that is how clients know that they can trust you, that you're reliable, they can rely on you to do good work on a consistent basis. And that's who they're going to want to recommend because they want to make themselves look good when they refer someone. 7 is organizing yourself and your time. So organization and time management, non-negotiables as a freelancer. If you want me to make a video on that, I can definitely talk about that because I'm a big mega type A planner. My biggest tips are do weekly planning to be sure you know what's coming up for each client. I have a whole video where I walk through my freelancer weekly planning template with Notion, and it comes with a free template. I'll link in the top right corner and description box below. I'm just so proud of myself that I know that's the top right now. Plan out your weeks properly. Ensure you have some sort of a good to-do list where every single thing that needs to be done for every single client that they ever mention goes into one place. Funnel it into that to-do list so that you never miss anything. You don't forget anything. and do things ahead of time. Add buffers and padding into your timeline estimations so that you can prepare for the worst, because unexpected things happen all the time. Show up early for meetings and calls. Use a calendar management tool so that you never miss calls. And yeah, show up 5 minutes early for meetings. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people are consistently late. So this will all go a very, very long way. Number 8, proactivity. This one's not talked about as much as it should be, honestly. My favorite freelancers are freelancers who take initiative. They're the ones I want to pay more money to and the ones that I recommend to everyone because they are showing me that they're invested. They're coming up with ideas, solutions, helping foresee problems. They're showing that they care and that they're in it as much as the business owner. They're giving additional value. And I know it's very easy to be like, well, that's not really within my job description. I'm just gonna do what they told me to do and that's it. And that is totally 100% fine. But just know that taking initiative, I mean, obviously you don't have to do it all the time, even just a little bit every once in a while. And being proactive is how you stand out because most people are not being proactive. Most freelancers are not taking initiative. Most people do not step one toe outside of their job description. So if you're that person who comes with ideas, solutions, tips, value, a good client will recognize that and reward it. And finally, this is one of those soft skills that makes you a true superstar on my list. I just love people who double check their work. It just makes me so happy that I don't have to be the one double checking. I love this. And I don't want to hear from anybody, I'm just not detail oriented, Dea. That's not who I am. Being detail oriented is not something you're born with. It's just little habits. It's just little habits. You can build detail orientation into your processes. Double check your work. Go through it once and then go through it again the next day. Install Grammarly so that your small typos and grammar mistakes are caught very easily. Double check your links in an incognito browser before you send it to a client to be sure that they can view and edit or whatever accesses they need. Before you submit a project, go back and read the original agreed upon scope of the project to ensure you're not forgetting anything. Proofread your emails. Those will all already help you be just a little bit more detail oriented than some other freelancers. So really take that time because it means a lot to the client. And finally, this is kind of a bonus one. This is kind of optional, but it never ever hurts to sprinkle a little bonus magic dust by being thoughtful. You can always surprise and delight your clients with thoughtful gifts or bonuses or kind words or compliments or encouragement, cheering them on. Being a business owner it's a lot. It's a lot. So sometimes just having that person be like, you're doing amazing. Like, I'm so proud of you. Look at how far you've come. Giving them that perspective can be really great. You can get them a gift for their birthday or business anniversary or another holiday they celebrate. I have an entire video on my favorite places to get gifts for freelancing clients. I'll link it in the top right corner. It doesn't even have to be expensive. It can be something that they mentioned that they would love in passing for their home office or a celebration of a business milestone. They'll appreciate it so much and think of you every time they see it. So that is breaking down how to be a top-notch A++++++ freelancer based on my experience and my experience working with dozens and dozens of freelancers as a business manager. What am I missing? What are you planning on doing or currently doing that clients say that they love? Let us know below so we can all benefit from the sharing comment circle. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.